this is as bad as you get on Mother Earth in terms of how the consequences of this. So yeah, it is a monster in the true words. So at the moment, he is about 250 miles southwest of the west coast of Florida. If we put it in the direction of Tampa, which is central Florida, that's basically where he is at this moment in time. But of course, the outer rings of the hurricane are already starting to affect. So really, it's downhill from now on. The eye will get there at some point this evening, probably about mid-evening time, UK time. So that's when the most ferocious winds will start to occur on the front side and back side of the eye itself. It's a little bit weird because we've been monitoring Milton now for 4 or 5 days, and there was a very good agreement that it would roll into, or smash into rather, Florida. And I would have expected that people would have started moving a little bit quicker, but with all of these things, people tend to do things at the last minute, and hey presto, you get the rush, you get the traffic jams, you get the food flying off the shelves, all of that. So I'm going to use the word panic because there's a bit of that involved in this, and there should be. But President Biden is absolutely 100% correct in terms of, if you don't move and if you are in the path of this major monster hurricane, then you could easily die. Only a couple of weeks ago, less than that, we saw Hurricane Helene cross Florida. There's 14 deaths then, and a lot more that when it went across North Carolina and other states. The warnings were out there, but even then, people stayed. For whatever reason, whether they just deny it exists, whether they think they can sort of stand up to Mother Nature, as Mother Nature's wrath as it is, you've got no chance. So the message is correct, and hopefully now most people have gone. It'll be the hardy people and the hardy fools that will be remaining for the most part. Yeah, as I'm speaking now, it's at category 5, which is the highest. Now, I'm not sure when it hits the actual land mass that it will be a 5, but let's make it absolutely clear. A 3 and a 4 and a 5, you're in big trouble. You mentioned Katrina. 20 years ago, Katrina was a 5. Once it entered the land, it very quickly went from a 3 to a 2 to a 1. But look at the damage that occurred there, not just from the winds, primarily from the surge, the tidal surge, and also from the rainfall, the incessant rain that fell within it. I think we've got a similar sort of setup here. The good news is I think most people have evacuated that should be evacuating. So I'm hopeful that the monster, when it does arrive, that there won't be people caught out for the sake of being caught out, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is on a scale of 1 to 10, if I can say that. This is a 10. You've really got to be aware that you know, in terms of this and incorporated tornadoes, this sort of stuff that goes on, it might not last that long. But the warnings that have been put out there are very serious ones. This is as bad as you get on Mother Earth in terms of how the consequences of this. So yeah, it is a monster in the true words. The history of this is the Gulf of Mexico, which is at record levels. There is your fuel, there is your engine, there is your power, and that fuel and engine power comes from a climate change situation where the oceans are warming up at a rapid rate, and that's basically how hurricanes start and how they gain their momentum and their impactful power. So as far as this is concerned, it's one following another. It's extremely unusual for that to occur. In this case, Milton will go from west to east quite quickly. It will go across the landmass and out into the sea. Helene didn't do that. Went up through Florida, the northern part, and then through South Carolina into North Carolina, Virginia, these sort of places. Across many more states. The geography was quite wide. But my God, did it create chaos along the way? And to be frank, it's really sad. 250 odd died already, and there'll be many more that they will find in due course that will put that number up. And by the way, this is not just, both for Milton and Helene, this is not just about lives, it's also about the economic loss as well, estimated to be $250 billion for Helene, and at the moment better people than me are estimating that it's going to be around $50 to $60 billion for Milton as he crosses through. So these are real big numbers, really big numbers, and it shows. We've got to. we've got to start focusing on these worldwide type events, whether they be hurricanes, typhoons, whether they be massive floods, wildfires. It's going off. We've reached a critical point, and there's no use now people turning up, whether on this station or other stations or TV, and denying what's going on. It's now a point by which those people have to be denied that airspace. You're talking mitigation, and there's many climatologists, scientists, meteorologists who feel we are too late. Now, I'm not so sad for me. I'm not so sad for people of my age or even younger than me, by a few years. I am very, very sad for the children, grandchildren out there who are going to pick up the pieces of this. Our insistence of staying with what we knew was wrong, and that is fossil fuel burning in the most part. It's not the entire story by any means, but nonetheless, we've acted too late. And now the consequences will come, and it won't be everywhere, every day, every time. It's not going to happen like that. It'll be bits and pieces here and there in all the different ways that you've mentioned: wildfires, floods, hurricanes, typhoons, you name it. There'll be strange things going on, and you can just see it. Virtually every day there's a flood somewhere, for example, where before you might have been, okay, there's a big shower and you can walk around, and you get your feet wet. This time it's halfway up the houses. It's deaths. It's all of this going on. So look, I'm not going to say it's too late. I'm just saying we need to act a lot faster. We need to stop denying what's going on. And we have to think about survival and safety, because that's going to come into it as well. So I'll be doing a lot of teaching in that department in years to come, hopefully. But yeah, this is a good lesson. Milton and Helene have created a space here for us to be able to have a dialogue that is perhaps a little bit more serious, to be taken serious, rather than perhaps what we've been going through, which is rather like the motions, if that makes sense. I think it's hurt it from the very beginning. Once it became known that climate change was occurring and it would have an effect, and all that's happened is things have sped up over the last few years. So the political discourse that goes on is poisonous. I meet some of it head on. I meet the man-made climate deniers, and they'll still deny, even with things happening. They'll make excuses. It goes on social media. It goes on left, right, and centre. But you've got to listen to the people like NASA and NOAA and Hadley Centre Met Office, WMO. These people know what they're talking about. They're not making it up. It's the jokers on social media and on TV, particularly, that come on and give their discredited views, which they are discredited in terms of the science, and make them feel that nothing's going on, that it's just ordinary weather. That's bogus. You can probably see I'm quite serious about this. I'm getting to the serious stage. I think we should be. There are people out there who I've seen scientists cry on this, make this absolutely clear, that they know what's coming, and we've got to start acting a lot faster. So whether it be Times Radio, whether it be any other station, any TV, we've got to change the dialogue now and get really serious. This is the number one subject going forward for the human race.